124. This is a lesson. It's not about of marriage in itself. What is it? Then we'll speak about the sin against marriage. It's not the most intelligent topic, but unfortunately there is so much ignorance about it that it's important to bring clarity on that. Lesson 31 will be the most beautiful part of this lesson. It will be the sacrament of matrimony. And after, it will be very practical. It will just be advice. Lesson 32 is how to have a happy marriage. So how? Because to marry is already an achievement. But now, how can you be happy with your wife or your husband up to the last day of your life? It's not always easy. And lesson 33, duties of parents toward their children. And that is also very important. So, 5 chapters. And that shows us something, I think, very important. It has been, if Jesus Christ himself has elevated marriage to the state of sacrament, it shows that it is good and important. But before to speak about the sacrament of marriage, I want to speak about marriage itself as a natural institution. Okay. Marriage can be valid, and yet it's not a sacrament always. A marriage between two pagans, okay, two people, a man, a woman who wants to start a family, to do the will of God as much as they know Him. These people can contract a valid marriage, but it's not a sacrament. So what is marriage? And first of all, who made marriage? God, it is God who made marriage. And the laws concerning marriage, He made everything. Marriage, this institution, and the laws concerning marriage. When did God make marriage? When He created Adam and Eve. God has created everything, everybody in this world, a man, a woman, and therefore He is the one who has established marriage. Why did God make marriage? Why? We could have been single. He could have created single people, and He could have been creating people Himself. For 2 purposes. For the bringing children into the world and raising them, and that is very important. Both are going together. It's not enough to give birth, we also need to educate these children. And number 2, for the mutual help of husband and wife. Alone we are weak. And God saw that Adam was alone, and it's not good to be alone. Okay? Alone we are weak, so for the mutual help of the husband and the wife. And those are the goal of marriage. This is why God created marriage. Both are important, but you can see there is a number 1 and number 2, and number 1 is more important than number 2. So the goal of marriage is really to procreate, to give citizens to this world, and one day to heaven. This is the goal of marriage, and not only to procreate, but even to educate, and that is also important. How do you know that the first purpose of marriage is children? The Bible says so. Increase and multiply. Okay. This is what God asked Adam and Eve. I will therefore that the younger should marry, bear children, be mistresses of families. The Bible says so. Does not common sense show that the first purpose of marriage is children? Not only the Bible says so, even common sense. Because the very differences, both physical and mental, between man and woman shows the first purpose of marriage is the bringing of children into the world. We are not equal. We are not equal. We are different. Men and women are different. And this difference is good. Okay. And this difference in a marriage is made for the bringing up in the world of children. A woman's body is made for bearings and nursing of children. It's science, it's biology, but it's like that. Whereas a man's body is stronger than, so that he can protect his family and give them food and shelter. A woman is kinder, more sympathetic, not always, but so often, yeah, and more emotional than a man. That's true. She needs these qualities to care and instruct her children. It's very true. The way we have been made physically, psychologically, shows the intention of the Creator of the creator. And these differences between men and women are good. And we are made to work together, okay? And especially in a family, we need both the man and the woman. And it's not because the man is stronger that he is better than the woman. It is what people don't understand. We speak about the rights of women as if the Catholic Church was speaking against the dignity of women. Now, the Catholic Church is the only institution on earth promoting the true dignity of women. The only one. Under the eyes of God, men and women are exactly the same. We have the same creator, the same goal, the same right to go to heaven. But if you look at our mission here on earth, we have been given different qualities so that we can reach together the same goal. And when men are trying to behave like women, or women are trying to behave like men, now we have disorder coming into the world, and we are not reaching our goal. And at the end of the day, we don't even go to heaven. How do you know that the mutual love and help are the second purpose of marriage? First of all, the Bible said so. So God said so. It is written in the book of Genesis, and you know, I'm sure, very well this part. And the Lord said, it is not good for man to be alone. And for the same reason, it's not good for a woman to be alone. It's not good for us to be alone. Even priests, it's not good for us to be alone. That's why we have a community. So that's true for everybody. Alone we are weak. Let us make him a help, like unto himself. Then the Lord God cast a deep sleep upon Adam. And when he was fast asleep, he took one of his ribs and filled up flesh for it. And the Lord God built the rib which he took from Adam into a woman and brought her to Adam. Eve came as was created so that Adam can have a support, a helper, a companion, okay, and a wife. Not only a companion, a wife. Another himself somehow. Does not common sense also indicate that the second goal of marriage is mutual help? Yes, common sense does it. It shows that men and women are incomplete without one another, but find their physical and spiritual completion in marriage. When you look at the creation naturally, forget at the moment, let's not speak about the supernatural, okay? We are all made to marry, all of us. It's normal, okay? That's why we have been created to go to heaven, yes, to reach our goal, but it's natural for a man and a woman to marry. Now it is because there is a supernatural dimension also that comes in. It is because we have the redemption that some men and ladies decide to make the vow of chastity, not to marry, and that is not against nature, it's above nature. They give themselves entirely to God to help other people to go to heaven. But naturally speaking, we are all made for marriage. Because alone we are incomplete. Okay? And we need another one, and we need a helper, both of us. A man needs a sympathy, understanding, and encouragement of a wife, while the wife needs his love, affection, direction, and companionship. What is the purpose of sexual pleasure now? That comes, it's a question that needs to be addressed, to attract husband and wife, to have children, and to foster love for each other. So this is not bad in itself, but it has to be ordered. Okay? To look for that outside of marriage, it is bad because we are not looking for the will of the Creator. We just want our own pleasure. We want to do our own things. This is where the sin comes in. But in a valid marriage, to have that is good because it answers the will of the Creator who wants children to come into this world. So again, the Catholic Church has never been condemning it, but it has to be ordered. It has to be done in a marriage, a true one. What are the only ones that may enjoy sexual pleasure, husband and wife, who are validly married to each other? Because the goal is to give birth to children. And so if the people who are not married, who have not started a family, are not ready to welcome children in their family, and they don't even have a family, so it's disorder, and that's not okay. St. Paul speaks about it. But I say to the unmarried and to the widows, it is good for them if they so continue, even as I. But if they do not contain themselves, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to be burnt. How many wives did God create for Adam? It's a catechism for Maasais. Okay, how many wives? Only one. One wife. God wanted this marriage to be the model for all marriages, one man and one woman. So in Africa, we still have this polygamy, unfortunately, in some places. In Asia, we have the opposite. It's even harder to understand, at least for me. You can have one lady with many husbands. Okay. In Tibet, in strange places like that. It's not allowed by the natural law, by his wife, and they shall be two in one flesh. So God created one man, one woman. Marriage is between one man, one woman. They have not. We could also add it's not between two men, two women. Okay. When this catechism was written, people didn't have yet these strange ideas. But nowadays, it's good to speak about it. Marriage cannot be between two men or between a man and a cow. We were reaching there. Between a man and a cat. It's between a man and a woman, and only one. How long does God intend husband and wife to stay together until death? Until the death of one of the partners. So you cannot, from the day you marry, we don't unmarry after. Okay? We don't separate. A woman is bound by the law as long as her husband lives, but if her husband dies, she is at liberty. Let her marry to whom she wills, only in the Lord. You can remarry if your husband dies or if your wife dies. It could be possible. You are not obliged, but you can. Imagine a young lady who marries, she has 2 children and the husband dies, and she can marry again, and maybe it will be good not only for the lady but even for the children. They will have a father, at least in their. It's important in the family to be two. But once you are married validly, you cannot divorce. There is no exception. Okay. We'll see maybe in the future a kind of separation can be done sometimes. If the husband becomes very violent, he's always drunk, he's becoming a danger for the life of the children and of his wife, they could separate, but they're still married. So none of them can marry again. They will have to remain single up to the last day of their life. So that is also very important. Nowadays, it's not so obvious. Yes?
There is this question about a married couples always ask about the salvation in the sacrament of marriage. How is it given to one of them to...
It means they were not married before, but the marriage has been convalidated later.
Yeah.
So from the day the marriage is valid, they are married forever. And so they cannot separate. Yeah. That is the meaning of that. So again, once we are married validly, the marriage cannot be broken. God doesn't destroy what he has established himself. Why does God command husband and wife to stay together until death? It's the reason it's good to understand it. Because the lifetime welfare of the children and of the married couple themselves requires that they be permanently united. So it's important for the children who will come from this union, and we see the result today. Children who are living in a family where maybe the lady, the mother, is changing her husband every 2 weeks, these children are completely disoriented in the families. I can see it even in the school here. Look, all the children who maybe they don't have a father, or they don't have a mother, or their mother is changing her husband every 2 weeks. We see the damage that are coming in the life of the children. They are unbalanced. They have problems of affection. They are weak. They are very weak. So it's very important for the good of the children, for the man and the woman to stay together up to the end, because we need our parents up to the end. And even when we are 30 years old, we are still happy when they are still here, of course, but to have our parents around and to consult them sometimes. It's very important, and it is important for the husband and the wife also, for themselves, for this stability. In Africa, the natural law somehow is still well observed. But if you look at Europe, I don't speak about America, I don't know America, I'm not American. But in Europe, the children, first of all, nobody marries anymore. People, the family, they are not there anymore. And the children that are in the public school, I can tell you, they all need a special need teacher, all of them. They all have a problem. My mother is a shadow teacher in France, and she's telling me many stories about how it is in the school. The children are lost. And the first reason is they are not balanced because they don't have a family. So it's true, sometimes some people are making a wrong decision. They should never have married this one. That's why it's good to think before. Okay. But it's not because someone has not been serious that we should change the law. The law is good. The law is good because it's for the good of the families, of the children, of all of us at the end of the day. Yes, before to marry, we need to think. It's a serious thing, marriage. It's very serious. None of us would have gone to KCAC without at least a minimum of preparation. We prepare what is important. Before a job interview, we prepare it a little bit, at least. Before to start living with someone forever, to marry, which is a beautiful thing, we need to think before. There are some questions we need to ask ourselves. We should not be naive, and maybe it is what you are teaching your children, and you should tell them, make them know, think before. During 2 years, everything will be fine. You will be living on a little cloud, everything will be beautiful. But remember that you are not together for only 2 years. We are together sometimes for 50 years, 60 years. My grandparents celebrated 10 years ago their 50 years anniversary, so now it's 60 years anniversary of marriage. And they're together, and it's a blessing for my family. And I wish that to everybody. We need to think before. It's very important. Divine law requires the couple to stay together until death, even if they have no children. In special cases, separation is permitted, but the bond of marriage remains. Of course, there are some situations where, first of all, if the husband goes or the lady goes, like that, let's say I'm married and my wife is going, just like that. It's not my fault. So I will do what I can for my family. Okay. Sometimes some people are unfaithful, and someone else has to suffer because of the other one. Yes, that's true. Sometimes the separation can also happen, as I told you, the husband became very violent. The life of the children are in danger. Maybe he has a psychological sickness. Separation has to happen for the good of the family, but they are still married. So no, you cannot go and marry someone else in the process. You cannot. It's very important. The family is one, and it's for up to someone dies. Divorce is never allowed. Between two people, between a man and a woman in age to marry, two children of year 3 cannot marry. Okay, they are not in age, but it's between one man and one woman. It's a contract. The goal is the procreation. And that, if we understand that, we will understand the coming chapter, which is not the most interesting, but again, we have to speak about it. If we understand very well the goal of marriage, we'll understand why it is sinful sometimes to do so and so. The first goal of marriage, the reason why we marry first is procreation and therefore education of the children. Again, it's not enough to give birth, because after, who will take care of these children? Who will give them food? Who will give them education? They also have a soul. Who will teach them the way leading to heaven? We are taking care every Saturday, every Sunday of many small children who are living in Congo. We don't even know their parents. Maybe they don't even know their parents. Some of them we have to take care of them because actually they don't even have a home. Where are the parents? Where are the parents? Where are the responsible people? It's not enough to give birth, we also need to take care of these people. And not only to give them food, and people think school fees, a roof, food, I've done my job. No. That it is what we'll say in the last chapter about marriage. We have the parents are the first educator of the child, they are the first teacher of catechism of this child. They have to not only to help him to grow physically, but even spiritually. So it's a very beautiful mission to be a parent, but at the same time a very serious one. That's why we need to prepare it. And the second goal is a mutual help of husband and wife, because again, we need this help. Any question before I go to the next chapter, which is the most horrible one of this book, but we have to go through it. It's important. Yes?
About
Sorry? Mm-hmm.
And we are reading that the last purpose of marriage is children. So what happens to people that have not married but then see the boys' kids, they just want to go marriage?
I think someone who doesn't want children should not marry. No, I think so, yes. Who doesn't want at all. Who doesn't want for bad reason, maybe because they are selfish, maybe because, recently in a French newspaper I was reading that people, they don't want really a lot of children because you have to sacrifice you have to pay a lot of money to do one. And I think if people don't want children, I don't think they should marry. What is the point? The goal of marriage is to give life. But I think there is an education there to be done. There is an education because people maybe in the first time don't want, but with education they can understand also the beauty of it, of having a family. And so I think such people should be advised and they can change their mind. Yeah.
So let's say two people are saying they want to get married and they want to get married. But then I find these people are supposed to get married because they're getting married for the wrong reasons. Does God recognize that marriage?
There are some. So now no marriage is a contract. If the contract is contracted validly, yes, it will be valid forever. Even if some people maybe were not very serious, or maybe sometimes people were serious the day of the marriage, but after they change. So this marriage will remain valid. But if we discover after the so-called marriage something that invalidates the marriage, then the marriage will not be broken. There is no marriage at all. Example, you marry someone you didn't know she was your sister. Okay, you didn't know maybe because of so many reasons. This marriage has never been there, and therefore separation must be made. Or someone has been forced to marry, but forced in the sense that they were even opening her mouth to force her to say yes. Okay, and for her she was saying no. Of course, such marriage is not valid. You see. So we have to look at the situation. But if the day of the marriage, people accept everything, they accept the children, they accept to live together for up to the end of their life, that will be a valid marriage, and this marriage cannot be broken, even if someone changes. And so it will be the duty of the family members, maybe the parish, to advise the couple to save the marriage. When we have problems in the life of some couples, what the church does is not to separate them, to push them to divorce, is to try to save the wedding, to save the marriage, for the good of everybody in the family. Separations are very hard. I think we don't consider that. People who divorce, first of all, they do a wrong thing, but they should think more before to do it. It's really breaking people down, breaking. Please, no, please go.
I have two questions. First one, for the sacrament of matrimony, are the spouses, do they become responsible for each other's salvation? Or
So we will speak about the sacrament next week, but somehow, yes, because from the day you marry, you don't go to heaven alone. You go to two of you. Yeah. So you are not. Of course, as an adult, you are the first responsible of your soul. But the other one should help his partner. That's why the church doesn't want us to marry a Protestant. If you are Catholic, you don't marry a Protestant. Or anybody from another religion, because this person will not help you to go to heaven. You will be the only one going to Mass. You will have to fight with your husband to bring your children to catechism. So that's why we should read from the same script, if I may say, when we marry. That's why marriage should be prepared wisely. And we don't marry only because we fall in love. That's not enough. No. Because you can fall in love of 10 different people before to marry the good one. And even after sometimes. So we have to be realistic. We have to say that we marry also because we want to go to heaven. And not alone, but with our partner and the children who will come from this union.
The question is, if the two individuals, one of them has to say go away for a period of time, say more than 6 months, is it required that they have to tell their priest or?
It depends the reason. It depends the reason. Yes, if it is for work, of course. So sometimes you cannot avoid. So if the husband is a soldier who goes for 6 months abroad to fight somewhere, the lady will remain alone with the children during 6 months. Yeah. That it can also happen, but that would be very strange. That would be very strange because I think it's the duty of as we will see that next time, but the duty of the mother to take care of the children. Of course, the father has to take care of them also. It's good if only the father can work. Now, if both have to, because sometimes one salary is not enough, the two parents will work. But a mom who goes for 6 months, I think we need a more serious reason than for the man.
So my question was on how do two people who are married know the extent to be friendly with other people of the opposite sex? For example, if a man is married, how does he know how to be friendly with other ladies, but also to know that he's also in the confines of marriage for women as well? So
I think that's a question of prudence. The goal is to behave. First of all, I think that what should guide us is you will behave with this person the way you behave with all the other. So you are not don't try to be too close, for example, because we should not reach a situation where the two hearts are being attached. It always starts like that. It always starts like that. So don't make this attachment possible. And for that, you can keep some distance. But it doesn't mean that we have to stop to speak to the other. You can be very. We all have many friends, and usually, actually, it would not be normal. Let's say you are married to someone, and you, the husband, you are the friend of a lady, but your wife is not the friend of this family too. You are not the friend of a lady. You are the friend of a family. I think that's how you should look at it, and therefore you are the friend of everybody in this family, of the husband, of the wife, and. I think that if you look at it that way, it will be okay. Because sometimes maybe your intention will be okay, but you will make your wife terribly jealous. And you have to think about that. And the opposite is also true. I think you are not the friend of a specific lady who is already married, you are the friend of a family. And therefore you are the friend of everybody in this family. And the way you are with this lady, the same with the man. So that means politeness. You can speak, you can love, you can share stories, but you should share the same with everybody. And don't try to be too confident, too close to this person. It is to your wife that you should be close, not to the other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. I was told that you are the friend of a family, not of a specific person.
There is this question always arising in most of the married couples about you find in a situation that one of the partner is more devoted to godly affairs and another one is getting to three pleasures, drunkenness, and the rest. But there is this question that arises: if this is a devoted person that will be another devoted person in the church affairs and the prayerful life, since both of them they are united, they are blood, they are united, and they are soul is one. Would he or she manage to save the other one who is in the other trio?
She will try. She has to try. But that's why, again, I want to. We are speaking about marriage that are not successful, but before to reach there, let us always really keep in mind that we have to prepare well the marriage. We don't marry anybody. We don't marry anybody. You know, if you marry a drunkard, don't cry because after your husband, or even the wife sometimes, is drinking. It's not always the husband. It can be, of course, but it's not always. I know some ladies who are drinking. Yeah, that's terrible. So, first of all, we have to prepare well the marriage. That's for those who are not married. So you marry someone who has the same faith as you, and the time that is preparing, that is here before marriage, should be a time where everybody, the future husband and the future wife, are trying to fight against their vices. Now, if the situation continues after, first of all, we can be very devoted, but it's very important for ladies, even for men, to understand that if you are married, you are not a monk. So in the evening, you are supposed to be with your family. You're not supposed to be in church. Okay. You can go to daily mass, even if your husband doesn't go, or if your wife doesn't go, you can. But you belong to your family. Stay with your family. Stay with your children. Stay with your wife if you are a man. It will not be normal to be more in church than with your family. It's good to go to church, but if you are married, you have to be with your family. And now, if one of the two is going through difficulties, pray for your partner, show him the good example, encourage, and by the grace of God, it can change. Yeah, it's good to ask for advice also from a doctor. If it is drunkenness, you can speak with a priest, yes, but you speak also with a doctor. If the man wants to stop, maybe he just needs a good treatment, and he will stop. It's possible.
But you're finding that in the beginning of courtship, before you decide to marry, every partner was very faithful to each other. And
Are you sure?
Closest they came to change
Are you sure?
attitude or
Are you sure?
behaviors.
Are you sure? Sometimes yes, but not always. Now, the way you are before the marriage, you will be after. If you are not faithful before, you will not be faithful after. It's true, some people start drinking after, maybe because they have job issues and it's too much, and but that's why, as I told you, we need to know that we have many family cycles. So we have circle, family who comes together to help each other, to support with advice, with discussions. Sometimes a priest can also be invited to give one or two advice. Sometimes it's a doctor who will be invited. Once you are married, look for this support also. You need support. And so, and if you have this support, you can overcome all the temptations and all the problems. It's very possible. Because again, we need advice, we need guidance. But again, let us think before. And the way we are before, we will be after. And that's true even for priesthood. I was told in seminary, the way you are in seminary, the same you will be in your priestly life. If you are not serious in seminary, why should you be serious after the ordination? The same, if we are not faithful during courtship, we will not be faithful after. So, but after, it's good. We belong to the group of the parish. We also have, even in Nairobi, I know some very good family group. Family comes together and they see how they can be better husbands, better wives, better parents, for the glory of God and for the good of their children. And I think it's good. It's good to do that. Looking at the time, I don't have time to start this scary chapter, so we'll start next week. Okay. Any other question before we... Yeah.
No, this is a question of witnesses. The witnesses in the language. Say I've gone to my friend's wedding, and then I know maybe the husband was unfaithful the previous night. And I'm going to this wedding. Am I committing a sin knowing that these people were unfaithful to each other?
I would say I don't think it will be a sin for the witness because no, it's not always prudent to speak. If you think that it's very important, no, because to be unfaithful, it's sad, but it will not make the marriage invalid. And they really want to marry, and they've been preparing for it for months, and whatever happens, they will stay together. They just have been weak maybe the day before. I don't know, let's imagine it that way. So I don't think you will commit a sin. But now if you are aware of something very grave that will even invalidate a marriage, now you must speak. That's why before the wedding, we have the publication of ban. If someone knows an impediment to this marriage, he has a duty in conscience to speak about it. For example, if you know that this person is already married, but she managed to hide it, we cannot keep quiet. Okay. Of course, we will not stand up the day of the wedding, say, I have something to say, listen to me now. You will destroy their reputation, but privately you will go and speak with them, first of all, and then maybe with the priest. But if you know a sin, venial or mortal, they have done the day before, I don't think it will be prudent. You can speak with your friend. I know what you did yesterday. Okay, what's wrong with you? You can speak advice. Okay, but it's a question of prudence, and I don't think it will be prudent to reveal it. It will not make the marriage invalid. So, yeah.
To add to that question, traditionally the witnesses are the bridesmaids and bridegrooms of the couple used to go for confession before the wedding.
Yeah.
Does that still happen?
Yes, well, of course, we highly recommend people to go for not because we have committed necessarily mortal sins before, but before to receive the sacrament, we always try to come with the purest soul possible. Before ordinations, the seminarians are invited to confess, even if they have gone for confession 1 week ago, because we want to approach this sacrament with the most beautiful soul possible. Before confirmation, you remember, that was 2 weeks ago, we spent the full morning on Saturday to confess the 70 people who received confirmation. So even before marriage, we recommend that. If someone, but you cannot force someone to confess. If someone receives the sacrament of matrimony with a mortal sin, he will be truly married, but he will not receive the grace of God at this moment. He will even commit a sacrilege. Yeah. But that most of the time people confess before, because they want to do things well. Yeah. So, this is what we can say about marriage. If we understand the first principles, you will understand all what is following. The following chapter is about, we'll speak about the marriage debt, the divorce, the sinful company keeping, adultery, birth control, abortion, sterilization. We'll speak about all these things. It's important. It's important because we live in a world where most of these things look like okay. Abortion, in many countries, it is a human right. A human right. We have a right to kill. Imagine. It has become normal. Normal. You go and see a midwife. In France, you can go and see a midwife for 2 reasons, or because you want to abort, or because you want to give birth. You see, you can. Midwives can be official killers, or helper to give life. So it's not obvious anymore. So we will speak about it. We'll see what is the problem. Birth control, the same. We will speak, because people want the pleasure, but they don't want the children, and that's the problem of birth control, of onanism and all these things. So we need to warn people against that. Sterilization, you are not allowed to sterilize yourself like that. After 3 children, I will ask the doctor to do an operation so that I don't give birth anymore. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. So we'll have to speak about that, and we will see mostly the reason why is it reasonable. And from there, we'll be able to speak about the sacrament of matrimony, the sacraments. Now we spoke only about marriage in general. And after, some advice, it will be very practical on how to have a happy wedding. Remember the word of St. Paul, above all, keep charity. If you love God above all what you will do in your life will be well done. Let us pray.